Donald Trump has gone mute this morning after a terrible jobs report was just released, and as his top White House aides and cabinet members are currently getting booed in Washington, D.C., Stephen Miller, Todd Blanche, and Pete Hegseth decided to give a speech outside of the White House, and a massive protest erupted, and they were booed. This at the same time that nobody is attending the so-called Great American State Fair. And today, even less people attended than yesterday, which is pretty impressive considering almost no one showed up yesterday. So the morning began by Donald Trump posting about companies that he has invested in, like Micron. Donald Trump has purchased Micron stock. We saw that in the latest financial disclosures. And then Donald Trump posted Micron, a great American company, announced they are putting in $250 million into the Trump accounts for the future benefit of children. And their stock went up 9 points today. Thank you, Micron, DJT. Actually, Micron stock has gone down over the past several days. Donald Trump did not disclose that he is an investor in Micron, and also that the American taxpayers have subsidized Micron to the tune of billions of dollars. Donald Trump also posted this morning that the United States spends more money on NATO than any country by far to protect them without getting any benefit from so doing. So he attacked NATO. And of course, last night he was posting weird AI videos of himself as a doctor. And then the jobs report dropped and Donald Trump went mute. We learned that the U.S. added just 57,000 jobs per the latest jobs report, far below the 115,000 jobs economists expected, while April and May job totals were revised downward significantly. The labor market also showed deeper signs of weakness, with 720,000 people leaving the labor force, 507,000 fewer people employed, and the employment to population ratio falling to 59%, its lowest level in about 5 years. Inflation is at 4%, and it continues to outpace wage growth of 3.5%. No comment, Donald? No comment. Then Donald Trump sent out his cabinet members and Stephen Miller. Let me show you what went down. You had Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth yelling at protesters, saying, "This is the sound of ingrates, of ingratitude, of people so blinded by ideology." As the protest was erupting, you had Hegseth flailing. Let's take a look at what happened. Let's play this clip.
Sorry, I had a meeting go long. I never want to make a formation stand out any longer than it has to, because I've stood in your formation before, waiting for somebody to show up so I can get on and do my job. And that's the beautiful part about what you do. You do your job no matter what. In fact, this background noise this morning is perfect. It's the sound of ingrates, of ingratitude, of people who are so blinded by ideology, they can't see law and order and common sense in front of them. That there's nothing ideological about this group. There's nothing political about this exercise. Law and order is something all Americans deserve.
Then you had Stephen Miller getting booed, and the protesters were just not having it. Here, play this clip.
All of civilization can be fundamentally divided into two groups of people: builders and destroyers. Between the people who do the work to build, sustain, and nurture civilization, the people who serve, who sacrifice, who give, who care for others, who protect others, who defend others, and those who only destroy, who litter, who rob, who graffiti, who deface.
Then you had acting Attorney General Todd Blanche struggling to even deliver his speech to National Guard members. I guess that's why they were giving the speech, because they wanted to hold this propaganda event. And you can hear the noise being made by protesters. Let's play this clip.
Thank you. It was just about 1 year ago today when President Trump said that he looked around this city, the capital of the greatest country in the history of civilization, and didn't like what he saw. He didn't like the crime, he didn't like the way it looked, and he instructed us to do something about it. And that's exactly what we've done. And we haven't done it because of me, We haven't done it because of anybody standing behind me. We've done it because of each and every one of you.
Now you can contrast that where people actually did show up to protest the Trump regime, in contrast to what was taking place during the state fair, or the non-existent state fair in Washington, D.C. Watch as state regime media, which calls itself Fox, continues to try to promote this absolutely disastrous event. You'll see nobody is there. Play this clip.
On the Fox News
I'm going to
channel.
check out the fair. You have a good day, all right?
All right, we'll see you soon. Here's Harris.
And as Aaron Rupar explains, absolutely incredible scenes on Fox, as there is literally not a single soul at Donald Trump's. No, like literally 0 people are there. Play this clip.
Yes, you may.
So this just in from Peter McMahon, big fan. He said the sports team, meaning our team, should check out the foul that Messi committed in an earlier game. It was almost exactly the same, and he didn't even get a yellow card.
Wow.
It was clumsy. It was accidental. That's what happened in the U.S. It wasn't a foul.
Good analysis, Peter. We appreciate that. By the way, that player who was allegedly injured in that incident stayed in the game. They never even...
He probably went out, too.
But then one person did show up, a big Trump supporter wearing a Trump hat, and she described how the booths did not have air conditioning during this heat wave in Washington, D.C. She said she saw stars and needed medical attention, so she had to find a baptism tent to take a dip to cool down. But she's loving it, and this is what she deserves, because this is what Donald Trump does for her. This is the golden age, everybody. Play this clip.
None of these booths have air conditioning. We don't know what happened, but I started seeing stars.
Oh, really?
And we went to the tent. There's a religious tent because that's the theme for today.
Yeah.
And they had a pool. They're baptizing people. But thank God they had the pool. They said, "Do you want to get in?" I go, "Yes, I think I do."
I think I want to be baptized.
I'm soaking wet. But I went to the medic tent. They took care of me. I still got one of these towels. They filled me with electrolytes, but good
Nice folks in there for sure.
Oh, they're wonderful.
They are
absolutely excellent.
DC
excellent.
Fire helped you out.
Now, she's probably also thrilled about the key takeaways from the June jobs report as well, because she seems to love that level of misery. A disappointing jobs report, negative revisions for April and May, 4.2% unemployment rate. But the fact that the unemployment rate ticked down 0.1% was because hundreds and thousands of Americans have just given up even finding a job. 61,000 jobs were lost in the hospitality sector as Donald Trump's trade war against the world has resulted in boycotts of American tourism. Wouldn't you think that tourism and hospitality would go up right around the FIFA World Cup? In addition, you take a look at the way the economy looks, as Justin Wolfers explains. Really, since Trump's taken office, there's been 229,000 total job losses, like on a net basis. The only jobs that have been created are in the healthcare and social assistance sector, which Donald Trump is also attacking. Also, as Justin Wolfer shows, the manufacturing revival never came. Take a look at this chart right here, and you can see Donald Trump announces his so-called Liberation Day, and you can see manufacturing jobs absolutely declining. But on state regime media, which is no different than North Korean propaganda at this point, they're saying everything is great, everything is amazing. Take a listen to what they were saying on Fox this morning after the horrible jobs report. Let's play this clip.
And Trump has been calling it the golden age. And I got to tell you, it certainly is feeling that way, Nancy. Once again, we've got strong economic growth. We've got a strong earnings period and a market that just won't quit. When you look at your own portfolio and what you're telling investors right now, Nancy, what would be an appropriate portfolio maneuver to do to ensure that we are participating in this euphoria?
Yeah, I think you want to be long stocks. I think Mark is 100% right about that. You put new money to work and you don't shy away from the tech trade because that is driving future growth.
And then they want to discuss the parade of horribles that would have happened if Kamala Harris was in office. And they said, all right, we understand that, things are things could be getting better. Things could be getting better. But then they go, but could you imagine if Kamala Harris was in office? Could you imagine? We would have blackouts. It would be the worst ever. No, it wouldn't. I mean, and that's what they have to do in order to be like, look, we know it's bad, but it would have been worse. Here, play this clip.
Now, if we had President Harris right now, we'd be dealing with blackouts and massive economic disruption because they would have continued to close all the coal plants, and they wouldn't have encouraged building anything new unless it was carefully blessed by the climate cult gods from above, which means nothing meaningful would be built and expanded. But fortunately, we're not in those ages. We're celebrating 250 years of the greatest nation on earth. America became a great nation by bold people taking chances and building big things. We're going back to that.
I love that, Secretary. I love it so much. And you,
by the way, hat tip over here to this a supercut that was made of all of the times the Trump regime has claimed that economic growth is right around the corner and things are actually going to be amazing. Let's play the supercut from MS Now. Let's play it.
In the fourth quarter of 2025, this economy is going to be humming.
I think we're going to really pick up in the fourth quarter.
This is going to be the greatest growth economy, right? 6 months from now, a year from today, the economy that Donald Trump owns starts at the end of this year.
I am very optimistic about the first, second, and accelerating into the third quarter in terms of growth. I am very, very optimistic on 2026.
Look for the second quarter of 2026 to be amazing. I think we're going to grow more than 5% GDP this quarter.
We expect that the global economy is going to have a big positive shock as soon as this is over.
We might have been growing at 4 in February. I think we're going to get back and we can have something with a 3 in front of it this year.
We're cruising at about 3. And again, I expect the second half will cruise about 4.
4% growth in the second half.
That's right, yeah.
And then you had the U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer was on the morning shows, and he was saying, all of these Democratic Socialist candidates who are winning, they haven't lived in the real world. They've failed to the top. No, you failed to the top. Your entire Trump regime are people who have failed to the top. Here, play this clip.
Right. I mean, these are people who generally haven't lived in the real world. These are people who have failed up. They've gone and they've borrowed hundreds of thousands of dollars to get master's degrees and doctorates in irrelevant things, while we're focused on people who are building. I don't care if you went to college or you graduated from high school or you went to Votech. We want people who are making and building in America. That's what the president's trying to do with his trade policy, with his economic policy. And that's what's going to win the day. These people who come in and say, well, I'm going to give away free stuff. Nothing is free, right? We all have to work. Everything you're giving for free to somebody, there's a hardworking American who's built it in a factory, who's grown it in a field. And that's what we're focused on.
It's a good message.
Yeah.
And then the UN ambassador, Matt Whitaker, was on state regime media, and he was saying, and look, the great thing about FIFA is that everybody got to see in America the great things that we've got. Like we've got Chick-fil-A and we've got a lot of great fast food restaurants, as one account notes. Why didn't the ambassador use this opportunity to highlight America's healthcare system, the cost of living, the generous paid time off, family leave policy, or the safety of our public schools? Here, play this clip.
Their attitudes. But yeah, people are enjoying the United States of America because it's an awesome place. And we have extraordinary things like Buc-ee's, like Chick-fil-A, just some very convenient to eat in your car as you're, having a phone call. I mean, it's an amazing country. And I'm glad that people are finally, kind of discovering what real America is. Being from Des Moines, Iowa, obviously, I like it when they see places outside of New York and Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles.
Absolutely. But they seem to even like that, too.
Then it's been an absolute disaster when it comes to foreign policy, this catastrophic war in Iran. As Reuters is reporting, whatever went down in Doha, it doesn't even seem that Iran even showed up in Doha in terms of the technical discussions regarding the memorandum of understanding. There's no signs at all that any progress was made, that if anything at this point, Iran is speaking separately with the Pakistan and Qatari mediators. The U.S. is speaking separately with the Pakistan and Qatari mediators, and they're just discussing the exact same things they previously discussed regarding the MOU. Here, play this clip right here.
The United States and Iran wrapped another round of indirect talks in Qatar on Wednesday, but there is still no sign of progress toward a lasting peace deal. Sources familiar with the discussions say negotiators spent 2 days focusing on practical issues that they said had been resolved when the interim agreement was announced 2 weeks.
I'm going to do another video of this morning. But Donald Trump, who also didn't just promise economic boom and that everything would be more affordable on day one, he also promised he was going to end the war in Ukraine on day one, Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Last night, Russia hit Kyiv, one of the most significant strikes yet, 70 missiles and nearly 500 drones overnight, leaving 13 dead in Kyiv. It was truly a horrific scene as Russia just completely, unleashed on Zelensky. And that also followed major gains being made by Ukraine in Crimea and strikes inside Russia as well. A few other points to note. Pakistan's Prime Minister Sharif announced that he will be attending Ayatollah Khomeini's funeral July 4th to 9th and all the funeral events. Sharif's trip also comes as Pakistan and Qatar are serving as a mediator, as you know, and Iran's parliament speaker MB Ghalibaf has called on Iranians to flood Khomeini's funeral and declare vengeance for his blood. I call on all the people of Iran, the youth, the families and martyrs, the war wounded, the brave women and men of this country, and all who walk the path, to come in their masses to the funeral of the leader and to write another glorious page of the history of Iran. And I will point this out as well. Barack Ravid, who's basically Trump's personal stenographer over at Axios, says, Witkoff and Kushner have been trying to convey to the Iranians that their demand for tolls in the Strait of Hormuz could blow up the U.S.-Iran deal that would ultimately be far more lucrative for Iran. The U.S. message to Iran was, think bigger, Iran. We can help make you rich. The official claim the sums Iran would generate from developing and selling oil and other resources freely if the U.S. lifted all sanctions would be 100 times more valuable than using a gangster tactic to try and charge a toll. You think after all of this, Iran is going to give up the leverage that they have in the Strait of Hormuz? After all of the lies, after all of the breaches of the MOU, you want Iran to just trust you, bro, that you're going to help make them rich? I don't think they have any trust anymore. I think that's one of the main issues where you have someone like Donald Trump who lies about literally everything. And when things get very, serious, like this horrible jobs report, he just goes mute and he just goes silent, or he just pumps up stocks that he invests in, like Micron. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.